Let's start here. Former Minister Malusi Gigaba has once again rejected the allegations of his estranged wife, Norma Mngoma. Gigaba has been testifying before the state capture inquiry. He says the issue of the Gupta's naturalization was quite extensive. Their applications were denied, they appealed. Gigaba has denied ever receiving money from the Guptas. Khayelihle Khumalo joins me now for more. Hi there, Kaya. Always great to chat to you. So, once again, the Gigaba sort of marital breakdown is front and centre because they simply cannot agree on anything. Just tell us a little bit more about what for you was at the heart of today's testimony.
Well, once again, Sally, quite a host of allegations have been levelled against Mr. Gigaba. But of course, in the main, it's the issue around this particular bag that will carry to the Guptas. So once again, refuting those claims that he ever received any money from the Guptas. In fact, to quote him quite exactly, he said, at no point did he ever just get caught by Ms. Mngoma red-handed counting the money in the study right in his official residence in Pretoria. But there he only kept the official documents, because at the time he was part of the cabinet and there's quite a lot of confidential documents that ministers are exposed to. But another very interesting issue was around, of course, the very controversial naturalization, Sally, of the Guptas. Once again, the minister said, well, his role really was so limited because the Department of Home Affairs has a lot of units and all the units had done their homework. But when the issue went to Parliament, there was a concern because one of the Guptas, of course, was not eligible for this naturalization. So the process was kind of thrown off. But also another very interesting issue. He was quite passionate, Sally, when Mr. Gigaba was talking about this issue. The allegation that the Guptas allegedly paid for his father's house renovations in KwaZulu-Natal. Once again, the former minister rejecting those claims. But Sally, this is what he had to say, in fact, about the whole issue that some in the ANC were trying to destroy him politically. And of course, perhaps Ms. Mngoma might have been involved. So this is what he had to say.
Ms. Mngoma did advise me that she was being put under pressure by certain people, some of whom are in government, others in state security, in the state security department, others in business, to depose an affidavit to surrender me, as she said, because they wanted to destroy me politically, and to that extent, such a political destruction of me would result in her being financially rewarded. And she mentioned the types of rewards that she would receive as a result. In our many discussions, she had said she would not accept that, and she needed to think about the family, put the family first. But ultimately, she did come. Now, the affidavit, Chairperson, as I have sought to highlight on a number of occasions, contains some very serious contradictions that indicate that this is not the affidavit that she wrote, or it is based on media narratives which have existed all along, to which I have not responded. I have sought to maintain a silence, believing that the opportunity would come for me to sit before the chairperson and answer to the many allegations. And so I do not know which one of the above many reasons or prospective reasons I've outlined would have prompted her to say all of these things that she has said.
All right, so Malusi Gigaba basically saying that his estranged wife could have been put under pressure to be part of this plot against him. Also saying that he didn't receive money from the Guptas, direct contradiction of Norma Mngoma. So who then paid for all his suits?
Well, that was quite a very interesting question, Sally, especially because Ms. Mngoma had claimed that Mr. Gigaba in his house has about 200 suits, as it were. But his very claim when he testified today was he was supporting the local designers who wanted to offer him all kinds of things, but also something really interesting. So he said he would go to Sandton and, buy fragrances and stuff. And at some point, he said he would buy like a fragrance for over 1,800 rand. And of course, a very interesting issue is that, the former minister claims that since he left cabinet in 2018, he hasn't been able to buy any fragrance. But quite a very interesting issue there, Sally. But apart from that, another very interesting issue is around this debit card that Ms. Mngoma had claimed that Mr. Gigaba gave it to her. So Ms. Mngoma had claimed that, there was about 100,000 rand. But of course, the former minister says she only had a limit of about 3,000 rand per day.
And tell us, I know that they adjourned proceedings with Malusi Gigaba, but it doesn't seem like he's quite finished. What's the next step?
So now they will determine another date because there's quite a lot of outstanding issues that they need to delve into. But also it's still centered around the Gupta-related evidence. But also we do understand during the course of the evening, the former CFO at Transnet, Anuj Singh, will have an opportunity once again to come and tell his side of the story. And we know that the issue of the controversial locomotives deal, where over 1,034 locomotives were procured by the parastatal, that's likely to be a very dominant issue.
Well, thank you very much, Khayelihle Khumalo.